Well, welcome and good day, everyone. We are, of course, glad you guys are back with us again for another episode of our Talk It Over. Again, another great message today on our series of Doubting God.
Yeah.
And a bit of a team teach, which was actually quite good.
Yep.
I enjoyed that. I like those when they do a little bring in somebody else as well. Again, different perspective, which I find is always great to have.
Craig kind of opens it up and then he passes it off, and Pastor Sam took it over. So, it was good.
It was good. It was really good. But, of course, before we dive into that, we just kind of want to give a little bit of a catch-up. So how has your week been so far this week, Dave?
Well, I guess we're in the beginning of a new week as of today. It's Sunday.
Yeah.
So, finished off the week. It's been a good weekend. Kind of slow, not a lot going on.
Yep.
I know we did the campfire last night and
Yes.
froze. So nice to have the fire because, man, it's cold. Like, it's almost snowing today. It's cold enough.
Yeah, get away from the fire, get away from the warmth, and it just gets cold quick.
It gets cold quick. But it's nice. It's nice to be able to start to do those things again.
Yes.
It's been a while, so it's nice to get back into those. And it was a good week. Just God showing up in a few ways and interactions with people, and just even my own time with God. It was just a really good week that way. And so, it's been good.
That's good. Yeah, it's it was nice to get the campfire started, first one of the season, and it was nice. It was a cool evening, but with the fire going, and it was wonderful. Really enjoyed that, so that was good. Emmett, of course, is feeling much better. He's getting finally past this after almost a month, I think it's been now, that he's been just dealing with this bug.
Yeah.
So that's been really good, seeing that being worked through, and just that, God's been kind of with us and with him through all of it, and just continuing to help just work all that stuff through, which has been really, really good.
Yeah.
So really,
it's been a long haul.
It's been a long haul, and I know it's been seeming to go around with a lot of people that we know, and the bugs in the school, and it just seems to pass around, and unfortunately a lot of people have got it, but getting over it, so that's always been good. Been able to do some cleaning up, getting things ready for outside, of course, getting that outside cleanup started, which is kind of nice. You can kind of enjoy the the outdoor patio and deck, and just kind of getting to enjoy that, and just the feeling of that started. So that's been good. And getting ready for the camping season. Brought the trailer back home, so now we're getting ready for that. Got to get in there and get that all set up and tidied, ready for camping. So it should be good.
Lots of work to be done, though.
There is. It seems like it never ends.
Yeah.
That just seems to be the
new season, new jobs, right?
Yeah, just as you're kind of getting finished all that winter work,
you're
like, this is nice to relax. And now it's all the spring stuff. Now let's start doing all the spring cleanup and going.
Yeah.
So, yes. So let us know, guys, in the chat, if you guys are, of course, watching this on YouTube. Let us know. What's your week been? How things have been going? Have you been enjoying the same kind of, spring things? Or maybe kind of sad to see spring start and winter leave. But we would love to, of course, hear from you guys.
Well, and if you're listening to this on a podcast, Spotify, Apple, whatever it is, we'd love to hear from you. So you can message us, info@LifeNorth.Church.
Yes.
And send us an email, and we'd love to hear from you that way.
Yes.
Give us some stars, give us some likes, Make a comment on the podcast if you want. That'd be great.
Yeah. We, of course, love to have that feedback. It allows us to continue to grow our Talk It Over and continue to make it even better for everyone that is, of course, listening and watching.
Yeah.
So, as touched on before, we're continuing in that great series of Doubting God. The previous two have been excellent, and this third one has been great. So if you haven't had a chance to watch those yet, please head over to our YouTube channel at LifeNorth.Church. It is all there. You can catch up on all the series and really dive into what it's all about doubting God. So this week's title, another good one, Facing Your Insecurities.
Yeah.
Which I know, of course, a lot of us have insecurities, even just about ourselves and how we, do things, or how we're able to do things, or feel maybe we can't. Excellent message. It was a team teach. Craig started it off, of course, and Pastor Sam Marin, who we've had before, kind of led the rest of it, and did, of course, a great job, and brought in some really good stories with that message. So we'll give you a little recap here, guys. So I like how he started it off with, we need to practice our self-love. And I know he started out with that personal hug.
I just can't. Hug yourself and I love myself. And Yeah.
It was an interesting way to start it, but I think a lot of us forget about that self-love and not really recognizing our own self-worth. And we have to remember that we are a masterpiece, and God created us as a masterpiece. And I think we need to just kind of focus in that a little bit more because, I think we lose that focus.
Well, you think about that when Jesus was asked what are the greatest commandments, love God
Yep.
with everything, all of yourself, and love your neighbor as you love yourself.
Yep.
And God says you are valuable. We are supposed to value ourselves and
Yep.
love ourselves. Obviously not in an unhealthy way.
Yep.
But I think, a lot of people in our society especially have a real sense of degrading yourself, like I'm worthless.
Yeah, a low self-worth.
Really, yeah. And so that reminder that we are a masterpiece, that God loves us and created us uniquely, I thought that was great.
Yeah, it was excellent because I certainly lose that sometimes where I feel that I'm not quite enough for that, or I don't have the skills to assist, right? And I think that's a really good focusing point that we are created as a masterpiece, and God can use us in very unique ways.
Yeah.
So he kind of touched on 3 points, which I thought were really good. God uses the unlikely, and I thought that was kind of interesting how he used that. And he said he looks at God looks at what others overlook and uses the unlikely to accomplish the impossible. Yeah. And he touched on, of course, a great story, the story of David, and this unlikely shepherd, the youngest of the family, and God used David and turned him into this great king that led a nation. Yeah. And so I thought that was really, really good in tying that together to see, unlikely people can be used.
Yeah, and actually that's really the story all through the Bible. Like over and over again, it's the unlikely people. You think of Jesus and the disciples. He walks up and says, there's a couple of local fishermen on the Sea of Galilee. Hey, come be my disciples and help me change the world. Yep. It's just people that you'd be like, no, not them. Certainly it's going to be somebody else. Yep. But God uses the unlikely, which lets us in, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Because you think, a couple fishermen, why wouldn't he pick, some priests or somebody,
somebody really important.
Really important, right?
Yeah.
So it's again, that story throughout the Bible about the unlikely, I think is a big tie into how God can use everyone. The second point was God uses the insecure. And of course, that is, again, a big part of all of us about being insecure with even just ourselves. Yeah. We all, of course, have to remember that we do have gifts and talents that God has given us. And we need to get off the bench and start serving and using those abilities because we have no idea how that gift or ability could affect even someone else in helping them, maybe even just in their journey or even just serving weekly. And the inspiration you could, let's say, Life Kids, that inspiration for a young kid who's unsure, that gift of just being able to engage with them and come to their level and really encourage them could really make a big difference. And he used the story of Gideon about being, the least of the tribes, the least of his family, and just, the least of his siblings. Like he was the smallest. He was the smallest, the least of everything around. And again, God used him to overcome ginormous things. Well,
and it was to go to war.
Yeah.
So him being like the least of the least of the least when you're going to war that's pretty important, right? Yeah. You want the biggest and the strongest and the most authoritative. And he's like, no, I'm going to take the little guy tucked away in the corner.
He's going to lead everything.
And he's going to conquer this whole huge army. Yeah, that's crazy.
It was crazy. But again,
in God's hands.
Yep.
Right.
Anything's possible.
Anything is possible. And so even the little bit we bring, like the loaves and the fishes, is significant.
Yep.
And we think, I got so little to contribute. And God's like, that's plenty.
Yep.
Like what you've got plus God saying what I've got is always enough.
Yep. Yeah. I love that. I love that it's always enough. That's excellent. Our third point that he touched on was God uses failures. Yeah. And again, of course, I personally hate failures, but I know through failure, I grow a bit. It helps to guide me in a better direction. I know what not to do next time. Yeah. And so, of course, we all fall and we all fail and fall short. Yeah. And that's a big part of us just growing is that failing and falling short. Yeah. And again, the story that he used was Saul, who then became Paul. Yeah. and how he felt he was doing God's work by persecuting Christians in the church. And seeing that as a massive failure to a guy that wrote so many books of the New Testament, and really just completely changed him completely around to become this amazing person to bring the gospel. It really was amazing to see from this massive failure that he probably thought, oh, you can definitely not use me, how badly I screwed up. Right?
Has an encounter with Jesus on the road to Damascus. And you would think because of his past, he's disqualified. Like, you're not allowed to do anything significant for God and his kingdom. And it was actually the opposite. God's like, no, I'm going to use you because I can turn you around.
Exactly.
Unbelievable.
Exactly.
Which, again, for us is huge.
Yeah. Because it's not about, our failures can hold us back. It's really what can even help us to move forward, because we can understand where we were to we can do so much better. So excellent message. And of course we got to dive into this one because it is a good one.
It was good.
So we're going to start off with a scripture reading from Ephesians 2:10. We are all God's masterpiece. He has created us anew in Christ Jesus, so we can do the good things he planned for us long ago. And I think that really is just that whole ties the message well together, is that God's got a plan for us. He's got a plan for us. And so we need to be able to be confident in ourselves, knowing that we are a masterpiece and what we bring is enough, that we can do amazing things. So with that in mind, being that masterpiece, and of course we need to remember that. On a scale of 1 to 10, Dave, how confident are you? And what would help you to move your number closer to 10?
I would say in my confidence level, I'm probably like a 6.
Okay.
Most of the time, I'm not that confident, although I get told by my wife and others that I come across as very confident.
Okay.
So it seems like it's quite high, but actually internally it's like I'm not that confident. And I think the more I lean into God and know that God is with me and he'll provide what I need, my confidence grows. So I know if I need to learn it, I can learn it. If I need to research it or practice it, I can do that. But ultimately, if God is with me in it, then it's going to be okay. And so the more I trust God, the higher my confidence grows. And then when I start to think it's all about me and my abilities, that's when my confidence starts to sink.
Gotcha. Oh, man. Yeah. That's good. God moving you along, making you more confident. I like that. Moving it closer to 10. I do like that. For me, man, I think it's very similar. And that's 6, somewhere between 5, 6, and 7. I think that's kind of the number.
Depending on what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think it does vary depending on the topics. And there's certain things that, I'm not really confident in for sure. In other areas, certainly more confident in things that, of course, I've learned. The skills and things that I have allow me to be more confident because I know what I'm doing. But I think it's the same thing. I think once you start getting to that point where, I know it all, I've got it all. That self, that self pride almost of this is, I know everything. That's where you start to definitely lose that. I feel I start to drop because all of a sudden something hits me where it's like, I'm not confident in that. I have no idea. And all of a sudden it drops that level down. And
it's funny, right? Because we want to learn mastery. We want to get better at things. So we want our confidence to increase. But I think the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know.
Yes.
Right? So,
yes.
Your skills and your abilities and your confidence kind of can grow, but then you realize how much more there is to learn. And so you don't actually really get confident.
Exactly.
I think that's why you guys that are really good at, say, public speaking and are speaking to tens of thousands of people regularly, they'll say, like, I still get nervous before I get on.
It's like, how could you get nervous? You do this all the time. You're so great at it.
Right. But again, you realize how much more you could be doing and your expectations are high. And so, am I up to this? It's the same question we all ask. Can I do this? Am I up to it?
Yeah, exactly. And I think, with God being there with me, I think that helps move that along because I know the confidence that I have in the abilities that I have, he's given me. And I know I can trust that. And I think that just helps me to be more confident, especially in those areas where I've got some abilities and gifts that God's given me. I can certainly be more confident in those. In other areas, I need to do a bit more research. I need to look up stuff. I need to figure more things out before I can say, I know what I'm doing. So let us know in the chat, guys. What's that look like for you? Where are you on that scale? Maybe you're a pretty solid number, or maybe you're more kind of like me, where it does vary depending on the topic or what you're doing. Please let us know. We, of course, would love to hear from you guys. So the message, again, excellent message. Was there a part of it for you, Dave, that was really impactful, something that really struck with you?
I always love, Sam uses a lot of stories. I love the stories, and he brings in the illustrations with people. So those are good. But the one statement he made just kind of blew me away, which was about the failure one. That if God didn't use people who had failed, then he wouldn't be able to use anyone. Because we've all failed. And for me, it was kind of like, everybody has failed in all kinds of areas. And so, God has to use failed people because that's what all of us are. And I know sometimes we get thinking that's just us. Like I know me well, so I know how I failed and where. And I don't see that for everybody else, so I think they're fine. And the truth is, everybody's failed. Everybody's blown it. And we don't like to admit it.
No.
We don't like to come face to face with it. But we know that it's true. And God says, doesn't matter. I'll work with you anyway because I love you and I think you're valuable. And so God takes us and how we failed and sometimes brings our ability to impact people out of our failures. And Sam talked about that too.
He did.
And I thought that was just so beautiful.
He brings such good stories, things that really are just impactful in that way. And I think for me, I like the part where he was talking about, he's had issues, he had, an addiction for 10 years and trying to work through that. And then, becoming, on staff, and he's working with Craig and of course, all these godly men, right? And he's like, I never went to, I never went to seminary school. I didn't do any of this. I can't compare to these guys. And it was kind of the same what you're saying, Dave, that, realizing that, okay, I've got shortcomings. I've got failures, but even though I'm around these really godly guys, they've all failed. They've all had struggles. They've all had issues. And realizing that, I thought that was really, really good. And I like the story when he was talking to Luca from Italy. And seeing that impact of living that vanity life, things that were very external. I think a lot of us can even, touch with that we can get caught up in that, in that vanity lifestyle of what looks good from the outside, but really we're just hurting and just feel so alone inside. And seeing the change for Luca after his father passed away.
Well, and when you're living that, it's all about you, right? Life is all about me. And then you realize at some point it's empty. When you make it all about you, it's empty. And so to know he kind of made that switch and now to be like, I love what I'm a part of, the community I'm part of, how God uses me. But he took the focus off himself.
He did. And changing that focus really made a big difference. And then focusing on those skills and abilities. He's translating Life Church's message into Italian. That was cool. He helped translate Craig's book,
Winning the War in Your Mind,
to Italian for people to read. So just seeing him using that was just like, wow, that's amazing. And seeing that change of, you can be used. In some way you can be used. So I really like that. So we're going to read Ephesians 2:10 again, before we dive into this question, just to kind of get a good idea of what God is talking about here. So, we are God's masterpiece. He has created us anew in Christ Jesus, so we can do the good things He planned for us long ago. So thinking about that, what would look different in your life if you lived like this verse was true for you? Ooh.
And you think about, there's so many layers to what will be different if I embrace that fully.
Yes.
So there's I'm a masterpiece. So I've been crafted by God, and I have that kind of value that I've got something to contribute.
Yes.
And then for me, it's the other side of that God's got good things He planned for me, And he wouldn't plan for me to do things and then not give me what I need to do with them.
Yep.
Like where God guides, he provides. And so
Ooh, I like that.
if I've got both of those, I'm really valuable and God has given me what I need to do it because he's already planned it, then I should step in with confidence to whatever he's got for me, knowing I got a contribution to make.
Yep.
And yet, we all have doubts and we hesitate.
Yes.
I don't know about that. And so what a powerful verse. To really embrace that would be significant.
Yeah, that thought of a masterpiece, it's even sometimes hard to grasp, especially if you have low self-worth. I know for me that was predominant when I was younger. And to think that a masterpiece and getting this concept of God created me completely different than anybody else. And just being, again, knowing that is like, wow.
And that's a good thing.
It is that
right?
I'm completely different, but he's given me a specific purpose. I have a purpose. And I think it's trying to grasp the idea that, no, there is a purpose for me. I've been created for a reason. There is, of course, plans that he's made for me, but I have to be able to step into those. But I have to remember that he created me unique to do these. And living that I think can be difficult sometimes because I think we get caught up in, I don't know, I'm not sure. And for me, just thinking back to Moses and the burning bush, and God's right in front of him, and yet he's still doubting he can do this. And I'm like, okay, if he's seeing God and he's right there, and yet you're still doubting him, whew.
And yet we have experiences of God where God shows up and we're like blown away. Like, I can't believe you did that. And yet we turn around and start doubting.
Exactly. And it's interesting to me that, even with those close experiences that we experience, we still tend to forget and forget that, no, God is there guiding me, helping me, and I can do things.
So when we doubt ourselves, some of that is doubting God. Because God has already said you're a masterpiece and I've created you to do things. And we're like, I don't know if I'm really that valuable and I don't know if I have what it takes. So we doubt ourselves and we doubt God because he said differently.
It's, to really live that verse out, it's certainly, you really have to rely on God's guidance and knowing and holding on to that knowledge that you are a masterpiece, you do have worth, and everything that you have has been given to you by God to carry out the plans.
Well, and Craig, he's taught about declarations before. Where there's statements, especially about things that you struggle with from God's word, that you kind of need to declare on a daily basis to remind yourself of God's truth. And maybe this is somebody's declaration they need to put in.
Maybe.
Take that verse from Ephesians and say, like, I need to declare this every day. Like, I am a masterpiece created by God to do good works he planned for me to do. And what a great thing that would be to remind yourself of day after day.
Yeah, definitely. I like that one. I might even put that one up. That's a good one. To have it plastered in lots of places that I can see it at a constant time. It's always around me, so I know that I am that masterpiece. I do like that. So, how often, Dave, do you doubt yourself and your abilities? And what truths about God do you need to remember when you're having doubts about yourself?
I think, as I said before, like there are some areas of my life, like I'm entering into kind of some new things around coaching and business stuff that I've never really explored before. And so my confidence in that area is quite low, which means I can be really tentative about, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if it's going to be valuable. And so I need to really embrace that, no, God has given me the ability to learn and grow into it. And if this is where he wants me to go, he's with me. He's going to provide what I need. And so just having that confidence that God is with me in it. And that because he's guiding me there, he will provide everything I need to go with it, and probably already has been lining it up ahead of time. You show up and there's a miracle and you don't realize that probably started 6 months or a year or more ago to get there at that specific time. Because God's already paving the way. And so, again, when I rely more on myself and my abilities only, I tend not to be as confident. But the truth is, God's created me and has given me what I need. And so I shouldn't be.
Yeah, I can't say I doubt on a day-to-day doubt myself often, but there's certain areas that I do doubt myself. And sometimes it's getting new projects going. That tends to be a hard one for me.
Okay.
I get very excited about it, and I'm like, yeah, this is something I can do. And then when it gets to that point of let's really start it.
Yeah.
Oh, well, maybe, well, and I start that questioning myself whether I can do it or I have the skills and abilities to do it.
Well, because you might fail.
Exactly. And of course, I don't like to fail. So if I don't start, I can't fail, right? So it almost gets into that cycle. And sometimes it's a very hard cycle to break when you get into that, well, I don't want to fail. So if I don't start, I can't fail. So then I'll be fine. I'll be safe, right? As
opposed to God uses us in our failures and grows us up in it.
Exactly.
And it's a good thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think those truths about that masterpiece and God's given me everything I need to succeed in the plans he has, I think is a big one where I need to really focus on that, especially in those times when I really do start doubting myself. Yeah. And then again, relying on the people around me. God's put these people around me as well to really help guide me, bring some wisdom to things that I have questions about. I think that's a big part of it for me, is really looking outside of just myself.
That's good.
But knowing that, no, God's got people in place in my life to help me through these times when I'm, of course, doubting myself.
That's like a part of the provision he's created.
Yes.
He's got this community around you to support you and help you move along.
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah, and I think that's a big part of it is knowing that community's there, that you can rely on them, you can ask them, you can bring questions to them without judgment, and knowing that certainly, again, helps me to know, and I need to do that more, and knowing that that's been a provision for me and that's there.
Yeah.
And of course, a great part of that is a life group.
Yeah.
Those life groups can be a big part of that provision in those times of doubting. When you have those questions, that's a great safe place to be able to ask the questions, to dive deeper into why am I doubting? What's there, and having different perspectives. So if you haven't started a life group or aren't in a life group, please, I recommend start one. You, two friends, can easily start one of these life groups and really be a support for one another as you dive into life's journey together, as well as each message each week, diving in a little deeper. It's certainly very important. I find I get a lot out of it, good perspective, good conversation, and even can get me asking questions about things I'm thinking about. Well, maybe how do I look at this a little different? So,
and all it takes is two friends, right?
Yeah, two friends.
You grab two people and off you go.
Yeah. And maybe even before the life group, maybe it's just inviting this person to come watch the message with you.
Yeah.
Start there. See if they want to come join you. Watch the message together, and that can lead into a great conversation, into a life group. So certainly recommend that. And of course, man, time flies here. We are flying through time like crazy.
It does.
But of course, love these Talk It Overs each and every week. But again, we want to thank everybody behind us here, getting this stuff together, putting it all up, and just being a part of making this Talk It Over come together.
The crew's a little light this week.
A little bit light this week, but we are making it happen, so that is okay. We are getting there. But it's all about pushing God forward, and we're going to do whatever short of sin to make everything happen, and that's all part of the journey that we're on.
Yeah.
So we of course want to thank you guys for joining us again this week. We of course appreciate it, and hope you guys will join us again next week.
And we've missed a few weeks.
We have,
but our goal is every week,
Yep.
so that we can unpack the message together.
Yep.
And so that's what we're hoping.
And we're gonna get those things going and up, and so we can get all caught back up to current.
Yep.
And we're gonna continue to keep getting these things out weekly for you guys, because we know it of course is important. To again just dive into this message a lot deeper. So again, thank you guys again for joining us. We certainly appreciate it, and we want to remember, whoever finds God finds life.